Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our monthly Indigenous film series. It is 7:01, so let's get this party started. I'm Jean from the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and I will be your virtual host this evening. The Denver Museum of Nature and Science is pleased to partner with the International Institute for Indigenous Resource Management to present Indigenous film. As you watch the presentation tonight, please put your questions, your comments right in that chat where you were telling me where you're watching from. We'll all be watching the chat throughout the event, and we really look forward to hearing what you have to say. That's a really great part about doing this Zoom version here. But now, you've heard me talk enough. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Jean Rubin, the director of the Indigenous Film and Arts Festival. Jean, you are spotlighted. Take it away.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Tonight's program is part of our 19th annual Indigenous Film and Arts Festival. As Jean said, I direct the festival. With me is Mervyn Tano. Merv is president of our institute. We are so delighted that you could join us for tonight's program, A Morning with Aroha. As always, I like to start by acknowledging the many people and organizations that make the festival possible. To start with, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science has been a wonderful partner and host. They've been hosting the festival for many, many years, and thanks to their efforts, when we had to transition programming to a virtual platform, they made the transition for us seamlessly. So many thanks for that. You see Jean, our on-air host, but there's a lot of folks behind the scenes who make this all happen. So our thanks to everybody on and off camera. Of course, we could not bring you the festival without the support of our sponsors and community partners. You saw the logo scrolling on the screen as you were logging in. I'll mention our major sponsors this year: Colorado Creative Industries, Konica Minolta, AARP, and the Colorado Office of Film, Television, and Media. We also have a number of community partners. They help with outreach and various other means of support. And I'll mention specifically Kumulao Foundation because they support our Pacific Island programs. Our festival theme this year is Our Stories. And our story this evening is A Morning with Aroha from director Nicholas Riini. After we watch the film, Nicholas will be joining us for the discussion along with some of his cast and crew. And we really have a terrific group of folks to chat with tonight. Iti Punamu, you'll see she plays Aroha in the film. She will be on camera with her mother, Carney. And George Henna, the director of photography, will also be joining us. So we'll should have a really interesting discussion from lots of different perspectives after the film. This is a lovely, joyous film. It runs 11 minutes. I invite you just to sit back and enjoy it. And after the film, we'll be back to introduce the cast and the crew and start our conversation. You have the option at the bottom of your screen. You should have an option to turn closed captioning on or off. That's live captioning. Just so folks know you have that option. And we are ready to roll the film.
Oh, we're on.
We're on. Wasn't that lovely? I'm going to start because Merv tears up every time he sees this film, so we need to give him a little time to gain his composure. So let me start by introducing our wonderful group of speakers coming to us from Aotearoa. Nicholas Riini has worked in the film industry for 20 years. His on-set experience has been vast and varied. He has worked on music videos, local and international television, and local and international feature films. And as he says, that has given him a front row seat to many directing styles, which has let him see what has and what has not worked. In 2016, he moved back to his hometown of Whakatane to start working on his own project and telling the stories that interested him, including, of course, A Morning with Aroha, which we just saw, and which he co-wrote with his wife. So with that, I will turn the mic over to Nicholas. And Nicholas, I'll ask you to introduce your cast and crew here.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, everybody, for coming on tonight. So joining me tonight is my DOP, George Henna, and also Kani and Itiponamu. Itiponamu was the star of the film. As I said, there she is. And that's us. That's our crew that has joined us tonight, this evening.
Terrific. So, Nicholas, could you start off our conversation just by telling us a little bit about how you initially came to filmmaking and what your path has been as a filmmaker?
To be honest, I was I didn't realize that there was a job that you could make films. I didn't know. I just thought, you turn up to a theater and they're just there. You watch TV and it's just there. That's not a job. That's not something somebody does. But I was living in Sydney, and with friends of mine. We were just walking down the street with friends of mine, and just saw a whole bunch of people hanging out on the street. Thought, oh, there's something going on. We'll go and join that crew there, see what's going on. And all of a sudden, Keanu Reeves walks past, Lawrence Fishburne walks past, Julian Arahanga walks past, so the cast of Matrix walks past us. We're standing on the set of Matrix. I'm looking around going, this is effing cool. This is awesome. And I just thought, oh, this is me. This is what I want to do. This looks cool. This is what my life should be. I'd always kind of been creative. I love writing. I always loved writing. But as soon as I saw the making of the Matrix, I just thought that's the life for me. And ever since then, I've just tried to, learn as I go, I guess. Learn as much as I can as I make a film. Yeah.
Can you tell our audience why it was important for you to tell the story in this film?
Yeah, I'm a little bit like Merv, to be honest. Anytime I speak about this, it sort of makes me quite emotional. But it was just a moment in time where our daughter was getting bullied, and we had she'd come home really upset. We'd try to sit her down and then just explain to her that sometimes kids can be angry and they don't know. Sometimes they just don't know why they're angry and they just lash out. So sort of after quite a lengthy discussion, she had calmed herself down, and we just forgot about it, to be honest, overnight. And then the next day, she was getting ready for school and taking her old artwork and toys, packing it in her school bag, and we kind of, what's going on here? What are you doing? And she said, well, if I give this to the bullies, then maybe they'll be nice, they'll be kind to me. And for me, I just thought, at first I thought, your first reaction as a parent is to go, well, we're going down to that school, we're going to sort those bullies out. But after, you sort of calm yourself down, and then you go, hang on a minute. Our daughter has just come up with this amazing silver lining out of this dark cloud. And I think I just went, this is, we've done something right. As parents, we've done something right, So for us, it was just celebrating that, this like I say, the dark cloud had this really amazing silver lining, and that's what I wanted to show with the story. Yeah.
So I know we've told you in prior discussions that we think the title of the film is absolutely brilliant. I wonder if you could say something about the multi-layered meanings of Aroha and how Aroha has informed the direction that you took the film.
Right, and if we can ask Carney to weigh in on that question too. Because there's I'm originally from Honolulu, and sometimes people have just a very kind of a very shallow view of what aloha is. It says, well, it's hello and it's goodbye and it's love, and they don't get the depth, the texture of what that word means to the native peoples of the island. So if you all could talk about that, would really appreciate that.
Okay, I might start, Kanye, if that's all right. I mean, for us, I mean, when I wrote the film, it was just our daughter Daisy Bell she's always been empathetic, and I don't think that's anything from her mother or I, but that's just who she is. And so when I wrote the film, the name came probably before the film did, you know. And like you say, Aroha means a lot of different things. It means, you know, to love and to be caring, but also it can mean sadness and to be empathize, feel pity. You know, it's sort of there's so many ways it can be used as a description. So, and that's kind of where I sort of wanted to go with the film as well. It's just to show that there's not only layers to that word, but that the layers to the character, layers to that person as a human being. There are those kind of layers to that, you know, to Itiponamu, she's Aroha, you know, to Daisy Bell, she's Aroha, to me, I'm Aroha, you guys, you're Aroha, you know, it's everybody is that word, I feel. So that's why I sort of went that way. What do you reckon, Kani?
For me, kia ora everybody. For me, I think they're sort of like the examples of what Aroha is, and this short film shows anybody and everybody what they think in their mind what Aroha is. And I mean, Aroha is embedded in all of us, really, in many, many different ways. And this is just a small example of what Aroha is. And so, so yeah, that's all for me.
Because there's a part just as they're going to school after the older sister catches up with Aroha, and they're walking to school, and your daughter sees the reaction of the neighbor kids to the art. It is perfect. It is perfect. She does it so well. To me, it just captures this idea of Aroha as kind of a framing the relationship between the giver of art and the receiver of art.
Mm.
That's right.
And I mean, Yeah, and with, you know, with the whole, with her, with Te Pounamu, it was automatic, you know. It wasn't on the script or anything. It was just automatically she turned straight to them and, you know, and just sent out that message of Aroha.
Yeah, it was terrific, just terrific.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It didn't seem like you could script that. It had to come from the heart.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Sorry, go ahead.
Karen. Well, so for us, a lot of it, because we had, obviously my wife and I had, we live with it every day, and Kani and Mike live with it every day, and you sort of just become aware of something's going to happen. So you just go with it, you know, you sort of just, you know, let your children do whatever they want, really, and you just follow and, you know, and capture it, hopefully, and hopefully we did. Yeah,
because it was great the way the camera captured that relationship, the reaction.
That's all George. That's all George.
Yeah. And Eti Pounamu had a really good connection with the cameraman.
I felt like we did. Yeah, it was great. And actually, I felt like the whole film, because usually there's a big crew involved, and it's, you know, there's a lot of moving parts in this, but this felt like a family because, you know, there were the two families, and then the crew was dwarfed by the amount of family on set, basically behind the scenes, which gave it a really nice feel.
Yeah.
So George, while we've got you up and on mic, can you talk about the challenge of filming a very energetic little girl as she's sneaking out of a house and running up and down sidewalks? And
yeah, definitely. The sidewalk scenes was Eti Pounamu and I just went out and she started drawing, and I just went with her and just had to capture what she was doing as she was doing it. And sometimes she'd be sprinting down the road and we'd run down and join her and capture what she was doing. And also we were trying not to reveal too much. So it was, you know, you had to keep it quite tight and intimate and close. So she definitely kept me on my toes, that's for sure. But hopefully it came across as natural because it was very much on the fly to create those scenes.
what were some of the challenges you had for the indoor scenes? Because you're shooting in, Nicholas, that was actually your home, right?
Yeah.
We had to black it out. Like, we didn't want to shoot night shoots. There was, you know, at the start of film, it's set in the early morning before the sun comes up. So we had to black out both the rooms with limited resources. The lights all had to be powered off the house source, so there weren't huge lights, smaller lighting systems. Also, you're tied into your environment. You can't float away a wall. You can't, you know, you haven't got that option. So you've got basically, Nick and I spent a good day wandering around the house planning where we would shoot these scenes, which angles, how would we, you know, find these shots. And you just had to work with what you got. You couldn't, you know, you can't adapt like you can in the studio where you can pull things out and, you know, have a lighting rig above, or, you know, you just had to work with what was there. And also natural light coming in different scenes. We had to embrace that a little bit. And then having small lighting sources, you have to be careful how to do that you don't lose what's going on inside the house with also, you know, what's coming in from outside the house.
So we have not a question, but a message for Iti. Someone asked me on their behalf to give you a wave and to give you a heart. So I'm passing that along. Thank you. Iti, we love your drawings in the film. Yes. Am I on the right side? Yes. We really loved seeing your drawings in the film. Did you like to draw before making this film?
Did you like to draw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to Jean.
It's the coloring. It's all.
Do you still draw?
Ooh, it's a mouse skink.
I didn't catch that. So let me remind our audience that folks can type questions into the chat room at any point, and we'll read them for our speakers to respond to. Nicholas, can you talk a little bit about the reception that the film has had?
Yeah, we've been really lucky with we've been to a lot of film festivals, both here in New Zealand and especially around the United States and Canada. We've had 2 wins at the Indigenous Film Festival in Rotorua here in New Zealand, but also an international film festival, children's festival that we won at as well for best drama film. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, when we made the film, I didn't realize or think that would go very far. It was just a piece that I wanted to make that that I wanted to make just from my heart, and I thought, well, I'm just going to make it and see what happens. Really, I'm not really expecting anything too much. So for the life of this, I mean, it's, and the beauty of it is people are coming to me now and asking to show the film, which I didn't think happened. I just thought you send it out to festivals and that was it, you know, and then that's the life of the film. But people are now coming to me and asking if they can show the film at their festival, or where can they see the film, and you know, so it's awesome. It's awesome, and I've sort of been really lucky that I feel that things are happening for me as a writer and a director because of this film. So I'm really, really happy with where this film has gone and how it's been received. So, and so the kind of stories that I want to tell as well. So.
Which one are you pointing me to?
Yeah,
Okay.
you want to get that question?
Question for Carney. What was it like? You know, this film is being screened in festivals all over the world, but what's it been like to see your daughter in all of these different venues?
We're quite a what do you call it? We're quite a low-key family, so we just keep things, you know, quite simple. But seeing, knowing that our daughter's faces going all over the world is quite overwhelming, and you know, we're very proud parents, but very humbled, and because we know that it doesn't matter if she's on a big screen or not, you know, she's still very special to us. But we're very, very, very proud of her, and where she's come in. We're so happy and proud of this short film, and we were glad to be a part of it.
Nicholas, can you talk about how you discovered your movie star? It's a fun story.
Okay. Yeah. So initially I had made another short film, and my daughter was on set with me. She was looking at it, and she said, "Oh, Dad, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor." So I thought, "Oh, okay." And then this happened, and so I wrote the film, and I said, "Okay, Daisy, I've got this film for you. You know, you're going to be the actor." And she said, well, what are you going to do, Dad? And I said, oh, I'll be the director, so I'll tell you what to do. And she said, no, I'm going to be the director, and you just have to find another actor. So I think I freaked out because I think we were a couple of months away from shooting, to be honest, and I was freaking out. I thought I might go fishing, as you do, and so I went to hunting and fishing, a store in our little town, and was just wandering around, and all of a sudden I hear this little voice screaming across the store, trying to get her parents' attention, and I just turned around and I went, that is the girl right there. That's Aroha right there. She was just, I don't know what we call it, lively, and she didn't care who was watching, and she just wanted her parents' attention, and she was going to get it regardless of what she was saying. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, and I just approached Kani and Michael and just said, I'm making a film, would love to, if Iti would come and be a part of it. I just knew it was going to happen, so it's pretty amazing, pretty easy in the end.
So Carney, was that a difficult decision for you? Did you have any misgivings about having your daughter on camera and what it would mean to make a film?
No, not really. We've had a few film stars in our whānau, but to have her on there, I had to, make sure I knew what it was all about, and asked all those questions, and to tautoko, which means support, our locals and our and our own whānau, that's sort of the goal we wanted to achieve. And also to get my daughter, because that acting is pretty much what she does every day. So it was like a normal thing, like it's nothing new. Everything you saw on screen is what we go through every single day. But no, it was an easy decision, and obviously we've made the right decision. So yeah, very good. Sorry, she wanted popcorn, so she's eating popcorn.
It's movie night. So let me get to some of the questions in our chat room. Nicholas, this is directed to you. The transition of the older sister from responsible to engaging in imagination is amazing. Could you talk about that, please?
Yeah, this was really important to me because I think when you have a neurodiverse child in your family, the older siblings have to grow up, or the siblings that aren't neurodiverse have to grow up really quickly, and often may feel like they pushed to the side. So I wanted to show that she's this older sister's trying to live her own life, and she's got her own thing going on, but in the end, she just loves her sister. She loves her little sister, and she has always been engaged with her little sister, regardless of what's going on in her life. So I wanted to show that that she was, she's a teenage girl, but she was still loved her sister and still thought her sister was cool, and that what she had done for the community was an awesome thing to do. It made the community happy. So that was a goal there. And yeah, I think Hineti Araki sort of did really well with that character, and I think she portrayed it really well. So, and that was, again, it was I think on the first day she was really quite shy, but she warmed into it. That was that scene was the last day, and she had just warmed up by then, and she was, she had relaxed, and yeah, she portrayed that really well in the end, and I'm really happy and proud of how she portrayed it.
Somebody wants to know what gave you the idea to add the enhancements to the pictures, the animation, and and the kids playing on her drawings? It was amazing to feel like we were seeing the world through her eyes and senses.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. That was the idea behind it. For the whole audience to be a part of Aroha's world, and to understand it as well. For us, for me I won't speak for my wife, but for me as a father, I'm always, every day I wake up and I'm trying to figure out what my daughter's thinking, what her process is, and I'm trying to get in her head, because it's much more interesting than what's in my head. I'm worried about money and work and all that kind of rubbish. When she's having so much fun, I'm like, I want to be in that world. That's the world I want to be in. And it was just to have a bit of fun. It's just something that the animation is something that I had. I was kind of have another project that I want to write with my wife again, that has animation in it, and it's just creating that world, and that's what I wanted to do. And luckily with Francis Glenday, who was my editor and animator, I mean, he just did an amazing job, and we sort of had a good chat about it, and what he came up with was perfect and fitting and worked well with the film. So.
The International Institute for Indigenous Resource Management, which is Jean, me, a couple of friends, a board of directors. We had our beginnings as a law and policy research institute. The idea is to look at emerging trends, to see what kind of issues are out there. And one of the things that we've always been working on is the idea of nation building. Because if you're a Native person, an Indigenous person, that's a key part of your agenda.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've looked at in the past has been the idea of the role of art and artists in nation building. Mm-hmm. And I saw in this little film the response of, well, first of all, the sharing, the Aroha, in which the art was given, and the reaction of the neighborhood. I look at that and I say, that is the essence of nation building. You can think about it in kind of a nationalistic overtones, but ultimately it's about community, about building community, about having Aroha. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to use this as part of the work that I do now around art and nation building, because to me it just captures it in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think I know as Indigenous people, we're quite, our history is told orally, but when you really listen to what our ancestors were saying, it wasn't just words. They were, it was a oral story, but told in a visual way, if that makes sense. There was not just,
right.
The sky was black. The sky was full of stars, and the stars moved across the, it was this whole world that they created through. So, I mean, I think, and that's where I'm going with my stories now, is having, adding tikanga to it, and a kaupapa that it's not just I don't want to put words in people's mouths onto a screen. It's got to be a visual. It's visual. It's audio. It's everything. It's got to hit every part of a human. And it's not until I'm 49 years old that I realized that. But yeah, it's been a long time coming to realize that these are the stories I want to tell, and it's how can you say it? Yeah, it's not limiting myself just to one world. It's many worlds and many cultures and many Indigenous people that I can connect with. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the chat room here. Someone says there is a lesson in grace and forgiveness we see in the mom given to Iti, or the character Aroha, that many struggle to give. What is the biggest takeaway we should get from the mom's ask of a promise?
For us, we have we've taught Daisy Bell and both my wife and I to each other as well. We keep our promises. If we say something, we mean it. And if we say something wrong, we apologize for it straight away. You don't hold on to anything like that. So, and yeah, sort of just that fear that we've had. Our daughter was a flight risk, and we just had to make a promise not to do that anymore. And like I say, we keep our promises. So that was where we were going with it. It was just putting basically all our hearts on our sleeves, and making a film. It's just all honesty. To be honest, this is what happened to us and our family, and yeah.
Carney, did you feel a connection to the character, the mother in the film?
Yes, I did. I think the way that the daily things that she went through, such as worrying, rushing around, and also just having to have that kōrero, which is have that talk with her, and also trying to talk to her other daughter. So heaps of connections with the mum within the film, and it was good too because I got to have a talk with the mum and just have a little background, just so that she has an idea on how to talk with iti pounamu, what not to do, and because this one here is quite vocal, and if she doesn't like it, then she'll tell you. So, but yeah, no, it was really, really, really choice, and like George said in the beginning, the whole film just felt like your own whānau, your own family. So you felt comfortable, she felt comfortable, and things just ran very smoothly.
Thank you. So Nicholas and George, everyone seemed to have so much fun making this film. How are you going to feel about working with professional actors? It seems like it's a whole different thing. Or is that not, are you never planning to work with, is
Well,
the career now, just
never know.
working with the neighborhood kids?
Yeah, I mean, we're quite like, I mean, Amanda, who played the mum, is a very experienced actor, so we're very privileged to work with her. And then on a previous short film that I directed as well with Koro, I had directed a man called Jim Moriarty, who's like a 50-year veteran of film and stage in New Zealand. So I've sort of been really lucky that I've had some really professional actors to work with. I mean, I work on sets year in, year out. So I work with actors all the time, and you just get to talk to them. And I have friends that are actors. So if I can ever afford to pay one, then I'll get one. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. I love discovering people, and just the way that Iti Pounamu arrived. I was just like, I can't not have her. Can't not have her. She's awesome.
You know, and this I mean this to be a great compliment to the actor who played the mom. At the end of the film, I was looking at the credits to see if it was Iti's actual mom, because it just seemed like such a. It seemed like the such an authentic mother-daughter relationship. So I think that's hard to achieve.
Yeah.
George, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, they came across really naturally together, I thought. Having Iti's mum on set helped a lot when she was going through, when we had to motivate her to come onto screen. But yeah, no, I just thought they came across quite naturally.
We have a question in the chat room for you, George. Somebody wants to know what shot you're most proud of.
I was really proud of the scenes where Iti's drawing and we're just capturing that on the fly. And just flying with what she did, because basically we ran down the street and created that in quite a short time while the light was coming up. So we wanted to have the transitional light, so we had a very short amount of time. Yeah, I think those were my favorite shots, and the favorite bit where it was like freestyling with her as we went.
There's a height difference as well, which just adds to the challenge, right?
Yeah, I think his because I do quite a lot of camera operating handheld, and you learn to be very flexible, get into lots of strange positions. Being outside's actually it means you can get to where you need to get to. Sometimes when you're stuck in a car, when you're in a building, you have a lot of things that get in your way. But we're out on the street, and yeah, just went for it.
Nicholas, several people have asked if there's a way to watch the film again. If it's streaming anywhere?
Not yet. We're still I think the end of this year, I think, is our last submission for film festivals. So and I think I've mentioned this before, I'm not very tech savvy, so I don't actually know how to put it up anywhere other than Vimeo. So I will figure out a way, and I will share it with everybody somehow.
Okay, well, if you share it with us, we can share it
absolutely
with folks. Yeah, it's wonderful. But you know, we love finding these wonderful films, and you know, a lot of the films we screen are not available anywhere except in the, you know, Indigenous film festivals like ours. So so for our audience, lucky you tuned in tonight, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'll find a way. I'm sure there's a way I can get it out to everybody. So yeah.
Somebody wants to know if you could talk a little bit about your musical choices. She noting that you have a song that plays throughout, and sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes there's just a few chords played. So can you talk about that a little bit?
That was an editorial choice, and I kind of just went with it. There's actually about seven different songs, instrumentals that play throughout, and it was just a placekeeper. Francis had put it there as a placekeeper, and it just worked so well with the film. I actually had approached a local artist to write some songs for it, because I mean, obviously this had all happened. We had shot just before COVID lockdown, and we were trying to edit it during lockdown, and it was just not happening. So it took a year to edit, and as I said, Francis had just put them in as placeholders, and he's just made some brilliant choices, I think, and it just worked. So I just said I want to keep them there, you know. And the artist wasn't available anyway, so I was got to get it out, got to get the film out there, got to move on, you know.
Right,
So that's what Francis did a great job there.
It sounds you just had the perfect coming together of cast and crew.
I know, yeah.
To make this fabulous film.
Yeah.
We has a comment here saying, this ongoing film festival in Denver enriches my life so much, and this film and discussion have been joyous to me. Thank you for tonight. And I'll tell you, joyous is the word, one of the words that comes to mind for me in watching this film.
I love this film.
It is.
Yeah.
Merv doesn't tear up on a lot of films, and he's now. Yeah, this is at least the third time you've seen it.
Yeah,
And
it always gets to me.
And I asked him before we put the camera on. I said, "Are you still tearing up over this one?" At some point,
yeah.
he may steel himself and get through it without a tear.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. I mean, that's what filmmaking is, right? That's what art is.
Yeah.
That's what creativity is. It's joyous. It's heartbreaking. You know, it's all of those things, and we should embrace them. You know, I think I cry every time still, and I made the film, and I watched it so many times, and it still gets to me. You know, it still gets to me. And I'm just, well, I don't mind, you know. I don't mind crying. It's a pretty awesome thing to happen, you know. So yeah, joyous. That's cool.
We have another question for Iti. Somebody wants to know, what is your favorite thing to draw, or do you have a favorite thing to draw?
What's your favorite drawing, Iti Pounamu? What kind of things do you like drawing?
The pink one.
Yeah, the pink ones?
Yes, green one.
And a green one?
Yellow one.
And what do you like to draw?
Colourmental.
Yeah, what do you like to draw? Do you like to draw flowers?
Yeah.
And what else?
House.
And a house.
A waffle.
And a waffle.
Dinosaur.
And she likes McDonald's.
McDonald's. Dinosaur.
Oh, dinosaur.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What was that?
The dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
Dinosaur was very
good.
cool. We
Yeah.
love the dinosaur. Whose pictures are in the bedroom, tacked up on the wall?
Those are mine.
Those are yours?
Yeah, I drew them left-handed. We had actually our art director. She had to pull out last minute, and so we actually had no artwork to put up on the wall. So the night before, I had to quickly draw them with my left hand and get them on the wall. Yeah, so that was me.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm right-handed, so
Oh. I think we assumed that, but nice to clarify.
Yeah, we saw The Princess Bride.
yeah.
So you were we're getting close to the end of our time here. So if there's any, I guess this is sort of last call for questions to the audience, but if our speakers, any last thoughts you'd like to share? I know we haven't asked all the questions we could possibly ask.
I mean, I'm just really grateful, and thank you to you guys for showing the film and having me here and having us here, supporting us. Yeah, it's just amazing to share something like this and have it so well received, and have people want to discuss it and watch it, and you know, it's just amazing to me. I'm amazed every day, you know, that people love this film. So I'm pretty happy. I'm a happy man, happy father, happy husband. Yeah.
George, any thoughts?
Mine was more with the making of the film. Like, I just had so much fun. It was nice because, you know, Nick and I have both worked on many sets over the years, and they're great, but there's something to doing a small short film with two families involved, and just the energy that people that are around the set bring, and the excitement, and just the can-do attitude. And it just made the actual making the film on the day just a pleasure. And, you know, and then it was nice to walk away and think you've actually put something out there that's got a nice feeling about it, that you know, that hopefully people can walk away at the end of the film and just feel good, just, you know, something nice.
Short films are among my favorite, because it's difficult to get a story across in a very short amount of time, and it seems that it requires a lot of creativity and artistry to really tell an impactful short story. You can't waste words, you can't waste scenes. You know, you've got just that little bit of time, and this was just such a beautiful example of short storytelling on film.
Thank you.
Carney and Iti Punamu, any thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
I just want to share that yeah, my appreciation. Very glad to be a part of this this whānau, and to have the opportunity for my daughter. Also to thank you guys for sharing this short film over there, and to be able to share it with everybody else who is all for commenting. Thank you for the comments, and thank you for being aroha to Iti Pounamu here. And yeah, really cool. Oh, I don't know what she's doing, but sharing her aroha to you guys.
And I've just got I better acknowledge one special person, or two special people actually, and that's my wife Dee and my daughter Daisybell.
Great.
Yeah, without their support, I don't get to make films.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know, we have a lot of really lovely comments in the chat room. Not questions, but just comments about how much people love this film. We will send you folks a transcript, so you have a chance to see everything that folks have said. And somebody took my last call for questions to heart. We have a question. How many days of filming?
Was it 2? Was it 3? I
Three.
think 2. 3. Was it 3?
3 in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 days.
Yeah. It's been quite a while ago since we shot it, so
Yeah.
That's impressive.
3 fast days. Yeah.
Fast days. Wow.
And they were like, we didn't do any overtime or anything, did we? We decided that we'd just keep them within the day, and whatever it was, then we'd just walk away and come back the next day, because we didn't want anyone to go through the grind like can happen sometimes.
Yeah, we sort of made a choice that Iti Pounamu had. We only had a certain amount of time with Iti Pounamu, so And we knew that we'd have to have breaks and stuff like that throughout the day. So we'd have to figure out things that we could shoot around Iti Paunama having time off as well. So time away from the camera and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was fast. It was pretty hectic, but fun. A lot of fun. Had a great crew, a great cast. You know, it was just, what more could a director ask for, really?
Life is good, huh?
Yeah. I also just wanted to acknowledge Hini Te Ariki as well. Hini Te Ariki played Aroha's sister, and Hini Te Ariki is actually Te Iti Pounamu's auntie. And so to have somebody that Te Iti Pounamu was comfortable working alongside made it more, that much more family vibe and easier.
Yeah.
I just thought I would acknowledge the Hini Te Ariki. She's become a teenager now, so she's just started working. So she's working for some money at the moment, but she sends her love. So yeah, just thought I'll share that.
Thank you. We have a comment I'd like to read for everyone. Thanks to Nicholas for sharing one of the ways that your daughter changed your life. And this is from a mom of a child with Costello syndrome. Thank
you, Lisa. Thank you. It's pretty, different children do that.
So someone is wanting to know if how to get information for how to see the film, like next year when you have it posted. Anyone who gets my emails, I'll send it out in an email. If you're not getting my emails already, just send me an email. I think Jean can put that in the chat. It's film, FILM, at iiirm.org. And I can put you on my email list, and we'll be sure everybody gets a link when the film is available. Somebody asked about making donations, and Jean will also put that link in the chat room. It's a PayPal link. We appreciate that. Thank you for asking. Merv, you want any last thoughts?
No.
No.
Well, I do. Several months ago, we screened a film, and it was an Australian film, and I did a piece afterwards on how to watch an Indigenous film. And I'm thinking that I might do something like that for this film as well, because there's so much in it. Everyone has talked about what we call ohana, whana. And that is, I hadn't thought of it as deeply prior to this discussion. And I realized that it needs to be, I need to kind of get that somehow discussed, because that is, I say, Jean says, and that the choice of the title was just brilliant, because it captures so much, but you have to kind of be there. You have to kind of know that. If you have just the superficial knowledge of it, you get it, but it's not as deep, I think, as when you have a sense of the depth of Aroha, So, yeah, I think I'll do that.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah.
Uh,
I'm glad
somebody-
you added that.
Somebody who's asked about Merv's writing on how to view an Indigenous film, send us an email and we can share that with you. Oh, that's Bonnie. Yeah,
Oh, Bonnie,
Bonnie Sundance.
different Bonnie.
Different Bonnie, but
Okay.
but often in our chat room. So yeah, we'll send that to you. Oh, a couple people. You know what? Send the email. I'll never keep all this in straight. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I think that's a
Yes.
wrap.
Mahalo nui loa. It's just, I love this film. I really do.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you couldn't. That was an extraordinary 11 minutes. That was just beautiful.
Thank you very much.
It lived up to the promise of the first minute and a half. Huh?
Yes, it did. Like I was telling everybody as they were tuning in, I saw 1 minute of it and I was hooked. So that was well worth the wait. Thank you. Thank you, all four of you, for being here. And of course, thank you, Jean and Merv, for hosting yet again. It's always nice. And thank you for the wonderful discussion, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, thanks all our speakers and thanks to our audience. We wouldn't be doing this without you. So
Yeah, we ought to be doing this. We do.
we do this every
We
month.
do this every month, right?
So
It's a standing
starting in 2023, we're still scheduled for the second Wednesday of the month, but we are going to start doing more of these programs in the theater, live and in person at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. So stay tuned. January will be in the theater.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing both of you. You know, we just have this monthly date. That's great. And I love it. Thank you again, Jean and Merv. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. The first link that I'm going to put into the chat right now is that email for Jean and Merv, for those of you who are interested in Merv's workshop. I would love to attend that. I am going to post the PayPal link one more time, just in case you missed it the first time. That is how we can keep Indigenous films accessible to all. That is our virtual donation bucket. Please give if you can. And we really appreciate all of you being here. The last link that I am going to put into the chat is George's personal website. If you wanted to jump on there and see more work from him, I certainly enjoyed his camera work. So if you want to go check that out, please feel free. And I will leave this link up just for a second, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that PowerPoint back on. Anybody want to take bets as to whether or not it shows the presenter view? No? Okay, I'll just throw that back on. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye, Merv. Thank you.
Bye.